Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you today. Glad to have you here. Getting your week started off as you're starting off your week, finishing the book of James this morning. Should have today and tomorrow, and we'll be wrapping up the book of James. And still praying, still thinking, but considering seriously going back and into the Old Testament and walking through the little book of Jonah. Great book, a story all of us know, and learning the lessons from the book of Jonah. All right, this morning, James chapter 5, I was about to say Jonah. James chapter 5, beginning in verse 16. James says there, confess your faults one to another and pray one for another that you may be healed. The effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. Elias was a man subject to like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it might not rain, and it rained not on the earth by the space of 3 years and 6 months. And he prayed again, and the heaven gave rain, and the earth brought forth her fruit. James chapter 5, verses 16 through 18. And so here, James is telling us that one of the ways that we deal with sin is by confessing our faults to each other and praying for each other. Now, does this mean that we go around, that we stand up at church Sunday and confess our week's worth of sin and wrong living in all their ugly, nasty details? Obviously not. It's not what this passage is referring to. What James is talking about here is that when the sin does involve another person, that then we go to that person and make it right. Not that we just stand up and just list off a list of all of our sin for the week, but that if we have slandered or gossiped someone or stolen from someone, something of those nature where the sin has directly affected someone, we've lied to someone, we've misled them, we have done something to verbally, we have said something that has hurt them, or maybe not even said something, but done something, or really specific. A great example would be if we realize we have done something that has caused another person to sin. If somehow we've done that, when if we've stolen, that we make it right, that if we have, I think a good rule of thumb, and I'm not saying this is necessarily 100%, but I think generally we see in Scripture that a good rule of thumb is that a public sin requires public confession, and a private sin should get private confession. Again, you need to think that through. Again, sometimes standing up and confessing can cause more harm, more difficulty, even for other people. So James, I think, is giving us here a general principle, not necessarily a definite plan of action, and he says we do that so that we can pray for each other. We do that so that we can pray for each other's strength, for each other's well-being, and as they move forward, we can pray for each other's forgiveness, for our relationship that we praise. And here's the reason he says. Then he gives us the example of Elijah. That if he says this man prayed that it wouldn't rain. And so he says prayer to God is a powerful and important thing in our life, that we understand that, and that God can do amazing things then through that person who is righteous, who is walking by faith, who is energized by prayer, who is living their life according to Scripture. And so that's a good principle for us to think of. Again, that is, I think, a good biblical guideline. Again, not necessarily 100% all the time, but public sin calls for public confession and forgiveness, whereas, again, private sin is a matter of private confession, and that we deal with that we deal with the issues between us, that we confess those things. And again, it's important that I don't confess to you what I have done to hurt someone else. That doesn't solve anything. We need to go to that person, make those things right, so that we then can pray for one another. Hard to do, but a powerful, powerful principle. All right, think about it. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.